Hi everyone, welcome back to the Velvet Lounge. Guess that price that it sold for a game. So I do this special every once in a while where you can attempt to guess how much things sold for. This time I'm going to reverse it, and I want you to try to guess how much I paid for items. I'm going to show you how much items sold for. And then all you have to do is try to guess how much you believe I paid for these items. And of course, I'm going to give you all of the answers. So this is and I will read the description, but this is an antique monkey head pottery cup and reamer. It is actually signed, and it also says Germany on the bottom, and it has a maker's number. This was an item that came from a home of a family that had immigrated to the United States in the 1800s, and they opened a grocery store. And they had a lot of really interesting items that were simply left in the attic, the basement, different rooms of the house from when they had owned this grocery store. So I picked up as many items as I could humanly get, like literally our vehicle, which is a Sequoia, which is really huge, was laden full with items, and a lot of them were smalls, which is amazing. So you can imagine the hundreds of items that we picked up. And so for this particular item, I probably, you can see that it sold for $32.99. I pretty much, list things, at what I'm willing to take for them, versus I don't do like penny auctions or dollar auctions or anything like that. I figure if someone wants to pay more or people want to bid back and forth, they'll do that. So this item had one bid on it. I charged $7.65 for shipping and handling. And as you can see, once again, it sold for $32.99. I actually paid 50 cents for this item. One of the cool things about it, there's a lot of cool things I thought about this item. If I was a collector, this would be like a really kitschy, vintage, antique item, that you would definitely add to your collection if you collected that type of thing. But you have the monkey at the bottom, which you can't see it in the picture, but there's a handle on the back. And it's just as detailed on the back as you can see in the front. And this reamer on top actually comes off to reveal a cup at the bottom. I actually think this was for reaming limes, not lemons, just because the top is not really the right size for reaming a lemon or an orange. So that's what I paid for it. Nothing ever breaks the bank with us because we really try to get great deals. Here is an item that I thought was like really interesting. I picked up several really cool photographs, and people have asked me in the past, in my many years of doing this, what makes for, possible good buy on a photo. And it's all about the subject matter. You want someone doing something different or outrageous, or doing something with something that's different or outrageous. People who look really different, ethnic. Photocards do much better than those that are just Caucasian. And the reason why is because there are not as many of them. So they're actually rare gems if you can find them. Also, some of the military cards do well, but it depends upon what the surroundings are, how the person is posed, what they're wearing, what they're holding, etc. Even how they look. So I hate to say this, it sounds terrible, but if they're injured, that brings more. There are photo cards of people who are deceased. It was very, very, very popular to take pictures of people who are not living, because in most cases that probably was one of the few, if not the only, photos ever of that individual. So, you want to look for, I hate to say it, but it's the unusual, the macabre, the strange, that is going to be your best bet. Nudes, obviously, or even if they're semi-nude, those tend to do well. And the cards that don't do as well are those where people are, they just look like standard people who are posed to take a photograph. And it doesn't matter if they're children or if they're, men or women, if it's just a standard pose and these people aren't doing anything unusual, the background is just a background. It's nothing special. They're not doing anything special, holding anything special. They're alive. Then those photo cards don't tend to do as well. So there are a lot of photo cards out there. So, in my own opinion, you have to just be careful of what the subject is. And also, of course, us, don't pay too much. So as you can see for this one, I'll read the title first. It's an antique cabinet card photo, Civil War soldier. And because of his pose, which would have been highly, highly unusual, as well as unacceptable for the day, we also title this Gay Fad. And what else does it say? Gay Fad uniformed, in uniform. So, so in this case, the card sold for $16.99, and the shipping on it, and handling, we charge $4.95. In reality, I believe it was like $2.61, because every time that we can use first class to mail anything, we do. So on average, our postage usually is less than $3. But once again, we charge handling. There's a tiny little bit in there for the supplies. There's nothing wrong with charging for those. If you think that you are going to do incredibly well on eBay after you subtract all your expenses from the money that you make by not charging shipping and handling, you're wrong. So I say charge it. If it's not, overindulgent, I've never had anyone question paying. So what I paid for this particular photo was honestly a little more than I would usually pay. I paid $2.75 for this photo. Usually for photo cards, I like to be at $1 or less. And of course, always bundle when you can, because then you should pay a lot less than that on average if you do. So that is, are you guys close? Leave some feedback down below, and also give us a thumbs up if you enjoy these guessing games. And like I said, this is a reverse guessing game where you're guessing how much I paid for items. So this was one of my favorite items that I sold during this cluster. And the reason why is because I just loved the wood on this pipe so much. It was just so smooth and pretty and carved from a single piece, which I thought was amazing that this particular shape, worked out that way. And you could tell it was just really well done. And then also having the actual, I'm not sure what the actual term is in pipe language, but on this pipe, it has this silver cap on it here. That's highly unusual. Usually the cap has never been added, or the cap is missing or broken. This pipe was like perfect. It was what they call unsmoked, an estate pipe, because it's an old one. It's an antique and or vintage. And the title for this particular listing is Vintage WDC Wellington Imported Briar Wood Smoking Pipe Estate. And I know the wording order seems as if it does not make sense sometimes, but believe me, there is a method to the madness. you want to make sure your most important words are first in your listing. It almost doesn't matter what order they're in. I could tell you for a fact it does not matter what order they're in. The most important thing is to get those keywords, those search words into your title. And once again, the way that eBay search works is if the most important words, like the fact that this is vintage, it's WDC, which is signed on the pipe. It also says Wellington. It's imported. Briarwood, it lets people know, it's what it's made of. And then, of course, the word smoking pipe come near the end, and the word estate, because people who know pipes, when they see WDC, the name Wellington, and they see the word Briar in import, they will know what they're looking at. Like, just by looking at the title, they will be eager to go in there and see what this is and if it's something that they want for their collection. So with this pipe, it actually sold for a total of $75. It had 17 bids on it. I had 3 people contact me moments after this was posted in an attempt to just buy it outright, and I believe the highest offer was like $50 plus shipping and handling, and I decided, not to go with that. I had no idea what this was going to sell for. I don't even recall what I put as the starting bid. I believe it was $24.99, but I was willing to let this one ride and relist it even if I had to, but obviously that was unnecessary. And even though you see you can't see it, but the condition on this pipe, when you state that it's unsmoked, that means that the pipe is new old stock. But in pipe language, no one uses the words new old stock or NOS. So, and I learned all about pipes. I learned, what all the different parts are, etc. And at the time that I sold this particular pipe, I actually had picked up, I think, 7 or 8 other pipes, and maybe even more than that. And I sold a bunch of them a few months ago, like a ton of them. I was like the pipe maven. And then just recently, I listed 3 or 4, which this one is included in that. And now I have no pipes. So I'm hoping that I can find more out in the wild. But this sold for $75. I charged $6.85 for the shipping and handling. And I believe the shipping on this came in at like $4 and some change first class. And the amount that I paid for this particular pipe was, I believe, $3 and some change. And that's on average, because when I purchased the pipes, I purchased them as like a lot. I grouped a bunch of stuff together, and it was at a tag sale at some folks' house in their neighborhood. They were having a neighborhood tag sale, and these pipes actually had been just sitting there. He's like, well, no one smokes anymore, no one's interested in pipes. And it was near the end of the sale, so I was honestly shocked that they were still left over. So that's another lesson, is if you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, it's so late, there won't be anything good left, if you're driving by anyway, or if you're out there in the wild anyway, you might as well stop. We have found so many good items at the end of sales, and sometimes you actually find better items at the end of sales because, great. I was trying not to show off numbers or anything, but apparently Post-it notes do not care. They love to fall off of things and show off, but this is one of our 2 eBay accounts. This is the one where we sell most of our smalls and antiques. But anyway, so with this, lesson, like I said, it's almost like that never give up lesson, because you just never know. And sometimes people are really nice and they'll go in their homes and see if there's anything else they're trying to get rid of, especially if they're moving. So, just an idea, as to how you can get merchandise at a good price and still get good items late into a tag sale. So, my next item is a vintage Sarah Coventry Celtic Cross, and I noted it's gold tone with necklace so that they know that the actual chain is included. And I feel like I put some other words there. Oh, 1979, and it's a limited edition. Sarah Coventry did this series of crosses in 1979, and if you can find any of them, they do sell for anywhere between, I would say, like $12, and maybe the most is probably like $24. Most of them are in about probably the $15 range as far as sale price, plus shipping and handling added in. And as you can see, this one sold for $17.99, and I added in, or the postage is $4.95. The postage on this actually was like $2.61. There were 3 bids on it, and yeah, it sold. And the other lesson about Sarah Coventry, I unfortunately, but fortunately, know more than the average person should know about costume jewelry. When I was a child, it was the first thing that I actually purchased because my mother would give me like 25 cents, and I was a cute little kid, so I would go to tag sales with her, and with my 25 cents I always liked the shiny thing, so I would look at like costume jewelry. I just thought, as a kid, thinking, oh, it's jewelry, it's pretty, and people would give me these, what I did not know back then, great pieces of jewelry. And I literally kept them until I became an adult. And when I started doing eBay, I decided to liquidate some of them because I was really no longer into jewelry, let alone costume jewelry. I just, liked a few pieces of actual gold and silver, that type of thing. And so it was amazing how many of these pieces were signed, and some of them were Sarah Coventry pieces. And if you have some of the older vintage Sarah Coventry pieces, especially if they're special editions or special issues, those can still sell for decent money. So I noticed that a lot of people will put like costume jewelry pieces, especially signed pieces, online for like, a few dollars. It's like, what's the purpose? Like, you might as well have a tag sale or go to like a charity sale where they're selling a table to you, lay your items out and sell them there just for a few dollars, because you don't have to go through a hassle of shipping and customer service. But don't undercut yourself when it comes to costume jewelry. It still fetches an amazing price for something that is not real silver, not real gold, it's not real platinum. It's just a pretty thing to look at, but some of these designers are well known. So for this particular item, I actually paid nothing. The reason I paid nothing is I had purchased about $20 in costume jewelry, and literally it was almost a shoebox full. And the lady was just like, you know what, it looks like you like this stuff. She's like, can you wait 1 minute? I have some more pieces. I'm just going to give them to you. And I was like, no, you don't have to do that. I'll pay you something for it. She goes, you bought more than anyone from me today. I just, want this to go to someone who'll appreciate it or do something with it, because she said, right now nothing's happening with it. And if you don't take it, I'm just going to donate it. So hearing the big D word, I was like, hello, sure, I'll take it. And this piece was one of the pieces she gave me, as well as a piece of Trifari, which I will be showing you in the future, as well as, I don't know, she probably gave me another like 15 to 20 pieces. And actually 3 of the pieces turned out to be sterling silver, and one of the pieces was a gold-filled, not gold-filled, it was 1/20th 14 karat gold. So you know how they put the 1/20 14K. So I was incredibly happy, and it's a self-winding watch also. So I do have that listed. I don't know how that will do as far as a sale, but stuff happens. We're happy. So blessings every day, everywhere. So that brings us to the end of our game. I hope you enjoyed it. And as you know, I try to give you some information so that you can go out there and kill it as far as, finding things that most people will overlook so that you can also get into, making some extra cash for yourself, your family, your goals. And I want to thank you guys again for joining me, and come back again for another edition of the Velvet Lounge's Guess What I Paid game, or guess how much it sold for. Please do me a favor and subscribe. We are, really looking for some new subscribers so that we can get feedback from you guys as to what else you would like to see. If you want to see more of this, we want to do a few giveaway contests, which will be super simple. I have a ton of stuff that I just want to send to you for free. But it's going to be based on participation, and you do have to be a subscriber to participate. So, please subscribe to our channel, share if you find anything is going to be useful to help other people, as well as enjoy our other links, our other videos, which are, we're a lifestyle channel, so there's stuff about cooking, gardening, tips and tricks, how to save money. There's some advice things coming up as far as insurance, buying a home, buying a car. We recently purchased 2 cars on the same day. We want to tell you how we did that. Sometimes we're just goofing around. So, please join us again, and have a good night, and may your shopping and reselling be a huge success. And when life throws you lemons, smash them.